Hey yo everybody, Haku here with my review of Clockwork Planet Episode 3. Now, this one, my hair is going to keep falling to my face, I'm sorry. I just got out of the shower recently and it always does that. So yeah, it's going to keep falling to my face, there's nothing I can do about it. But either way, let's talk about this part by part, I guess. This, I think, was the least good episode so far, but I guess, I don't know, I'm trying to think of what's the best way to put this. It wasn't bad, really. It just wasn't really good. It was just one of those things where I could just watch it and it's like, okay, that was an episode. That was an episode of a TV show. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad. I'm kind of very, very neutral on this one, so I'll talk about it part by part. There are things I liked and things I didn't like. A lot more that I didn't like this episode than the last two. The last two, people were saying, okay, it's bad, all that. But I mean, I was like, okay, it's a pretty alright show. It's not that bad. It's pretty good in some aspects. But this episode, the negatives were a little bit heavier. Starting off, we learn about the chrono compass. They can apparently affect all the gears in the world, and the baguette has one. Ryuzu belongs to the family of the baguette, the Brigettes. Naoto, I thought last episode, I was like, oh, Naoto wasn't annoying. Maybe it was just the first episode. Maybe they found their pace with the character. No, that's going to be probably multiple scenes here. It's going to be my biggest complaint is that Naoto is just really, really annoying. If they would have written him better, or if they would have maybe tried to voice him better, or even if they would have left him out altogether. I think without Naoto in the series, if they wrote around not having him in the series, it might be a little bit boring. I think just write him better would be the best way to go about it, or maybe replace him with a better type of character. But if they got rid of him altogether, it would make things a bit more boring, but I would rather have boring than annoying, personally. But yeah, he was annoying already. We have this little bit of a standoff, which was pretty good. For the opening, I actually, the song has grown on me, I really like it, but for the visuals, at the beginning, when they're showing all the different characters, those visuals are nice, and even when they flash to the different ones, we have that one sequence where, Halter, and I think this animation almost looks reused from an anime called Dance in the Vampire Buns opening, because it really reminds me of a sequence from that opening. I'll have to look at the two animations side by side later, because I've been wanting to do that but haven't, because it looks oddly similar. But even that sequence, all of that looks cool, but then when they get into the main chorus and the main supposed action of the opening, it seems like a jumbled bit of scenes. None of it's very cohesive, none of it fits the music that well, and it's a really good song to use as an opening. I just don't think the visuals are at the level of the song. The visuals are not very good for an opening. The beginning, those are good visuals for an opening. Everything once we really get into the opening credits, not so much. So the opening, while the song has grown on me, the visuals, I can just see more and more week to week where they really missed some opportunities. Apparently we learned that automatons are leftover guardians of the world from Y. Naoto, again, just being really annoying this scene. They have a gravity anomaly, and they're obviously going to use Naoto to fix it. I mean, everybody called that a week ago or so, including me, so they're obviously going to be doing that. We find out about Anchor, who is Ryuzu's little sister, in the basement of the place. Naoto, still very annoying there, and normally this scene could have been done well, the whole little sister pervy scene, whatever. That could have been done well, but I think the biggest reason why it wasn't, the biggest complaint I have about Naoto through the whole episode is he would be okay, he wouldn't be annoying, he'd be bearable, but he either A, screams every line, or B, cries through every line. It's if we could just have one line where he's not screaming or crying, those lines are fine, but he's just screaming all the time and it's really annoying. And like I said, I'd prefer just him being boring I'd prefer that over him being annoying. Halter, we find out, is a cyborg, which pretty obvious by now, I think most of us could tell. And Naoto's fetish apparently knows no gender, because he freaks out as well over Halter being a cyborg. So a report comes to Marie or a report comes to the HQ of the place or whatever that Marie is dead, and the Vacheron guy's pissed. He's like, "Ah, crap, we're gonna get blamed for this." And of course they record it to use as evidence against Vacheron later on. Baguette then goes rogue and has Walter smash the fancy compass thing that really seemed kind of important, and maybe you shouldn't smash it even if you're going rogue. But either way, also then we switch scenery to where they're driving down a road and everything, and that's one thing that I could kind of complain about last week as well. Is that we have these weird scenery changes. We're like inside, we're fighting these robots, and it's like, ah, cool, we're breaking into the place. And then we're driving on the public road, and we're like, oh, were they not just breaking into the place? Why were they fighting those robots? Where were they going then? I mean, I guess they were going through a place to get to the road, to get to the core tower. But I don't feel like they communicated that very well, so it seemed like we were just jumping to all kinds of different settings, and it seemed kind of disjointed and weird. Then the car scene is pretty cool, though. I will give it that. I thought it was a cool scene. They make it to the core tower. Apparently Ryuzu is the weakest of the initial Y series. Now, I find it a bit interesting. She says younger sister, she says she's the weakest, and that makes sense because she says that she is initial Y series model 1 or whatever. So who knows how many other ones there are. But that would make sense. If she was something that was built, whoever built her gets better when he builds the second one, better when he builds the third one. So she's the oldest. She doesn't say she's the oldest, but by being the first, I think it's safe to assume she's the oldest. And each progressive one gets stronger because the person building them gets better at what they're doing. She activates imaginary gear, which is essentially like going super clock, I guess. And her unique ability is called Dual Time, which seems to change her perception of time. She said that to them it would seem like a moment, but to her it would seem like 3 hours. So I'm presuming that's her power, is to change her perception of time. Then her battery goes dead, essentially, I guess. The gears run out of energy. She has to be rewound. Baguette just throws out a bunch of random bullshit technical speak because Baguette and because random bullshit science. We need to make this sci-fi series seem like it makes sense. Throw out random words. Baguette. Then Naoto, again, I wrote in my notes, I was like, Naoto wouldn't be that bad if he didn't scream every line, but I just, even continuing on from that, the scenes after she woke back up, him screaming or crying every line really, really got annoying. And I thought the episode wasn't that bad. I would say up until the last scene that happened after he rewound her gears or whatever, everything before that I'd maybe give like a 6 or 7 if that was where the episode ended. It wasn't that bad. It was a little above average, but I think my score went down a bit because this last scene was just really bad, really annoying. It was meant to be like a joke but half serious kind of romantic scene where it's like mostly a joke just making fun of the romantic element, but there is a little bit of seriousness for the characters in it, and I think it was a bit too early to do a scene like this in the series, and it felt really out of place. It felt like they were going to do, and even they lampshade that problem, that it feels like, why is it the time for this? So yeah, it feels really out of place, really early, and I think that scene was the big negative I had for this episode. This episode as a whole, thoughts, I thought that maybe it was a little bit rushed. I don't know if that's a fair criticism, but it did feel a little bit rushed. We just jumped from thing to thing, and none of it felt very developed or cohesive. So yeah, then just yeah, that was the feeling altogether for me, is that it was just a little bit rushed and unorganized. And the biggest problem, bigger than that, the biggest problem is that Naoto was just really, really annoying, and the show would be, in my opinion, a lot better if he was written better. He is the one thing that's really holding the show back more than anything else. Just write him better. Even if they had written the show without him, like I said, it might be a bit boring without him, but it would be better to me, because I'd rather be a little bit boring than really annoying. So yeah, guess that's all I got as a score. 4.5 clock fetishes out of 10. A little bit below average on this one. Not a great episode, not terrible either, just meh. Just eh. That's all I can say about the episode. And Naoto was annoying. But there were some pretty cool scenes here and there. But yeah, even them pretty cool scenes, not great or anything. But yeah, that's it. 4.5 out of 10. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did like the video, comment down there. Tell me what you thought of this episode and what you thought of my thoughts on it. Subscribe, of course, for more Clockwork Planet and a ton of other anime, manga, everything else. Then follow on Twitter if you want. If you want to, I'll try to keep you updated there on stuff for the channel. That is it. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.